In this video, we uncover the brutal truth between old and new home theater systems. What's really changed in 2025, and is your old setup secretly holding you back? The answer might shock you. The forgotten era, what made old home theaters special? Old home theaters weren't just machines, they were rituals. Big, bulky AV receivers, tower speakers that could shake the walls, and wires running across the room like veins carrying cinematic lifeblood. You didn't buy these for convenience. You bought them because you craved immersion. Back in the day, setting up a home theater was a full-blown event. You called friends over to test your new setup. You calibrated each speaker manually. You felt every explosion in your chest. No Wi-Fi, no wireless, just pure, raw analog power. And let's not forget the pride. Owning an old-school home theater meant you cared. You spent hours learning, reading manuals, tweaking sound modes. And when everything came together, it wasn't just watching a movie, it was experiencing it. But here's the question that haunts us in 2025. Is that era truly dead, or is it evolving into something far more dangerous? The rise of the new age, sleek, smart, but soulless? Welcome to 2025, the age of wireless soundbars, app-controlled receivers, and AI-powered room calibration. Today's home theaters are designed to impress with speed, ease, and automation. You can unbox a soundbar, plug it in, and in minutes, Dolby Atmos is bouncing off your walls. New systems like Samsung's Q990D or Sony's HT-A9 deliver breathtaking audio through minimalist designs. No wires, no AV racks, no tweaking. It's plug-and-play perfection. And for most people, that's more than enough. But here's the catch. Are we trading soul for convenience? Are these systems really built to last? Or are we stepping into an upgrade treadmill where every 2 years, your investment becomes obsolete? Audio quality, raw analog power versus processed precision. Let's talk sound. Old home theaters delivered audio through thick copper wires, powerful discrete amplifiers, and full-range speakers. When you played a Blu-ray movie, every detail was crisp, full-bodied, and untouched by aggressive software processing. In contrast, modern systems rely heavily on DSP, digital signal processing. They shape sound based on algorithms. They guess your room layout. They fake surround using psychoacoustic tricks. Yes, it sounds amazing, but it's not always honest. Which raises a brutal question. Do you want cinematic truth or cinematic illusion? Upgradability and longevity. Built to last versus built to replace. Here's where old-school systems crush the new. An AV receiver from 2010 might still perform like a beast in 2025, especially if paired with high-quality speakers. You could swap components, upgrade parts, and fine-tune performance without replacing the whole thing. Today, your $2,000 soundbar might become e-waste once HDMI specs change, or the app stops receiving updates. You can't upgrade drivers. You can't swap subwoofers. You're locked into an ecosystem. So if you're thinking long-term value, the old-school path might be more future-proof than the shiny new boxes taking over store shelves. Visual sync and immersion. Who wins in 2025? Pair an OLED or QD-OLED TV with either system, and you'll get stunning visuals. But audio syncing is another story. Older home theaters sometimes suffer from input lag due to HDMI handshaking or outdated codecs. Meanwhile, modern systems are optimized for eARC, low-latency gaming, and streaming services like Netflix or Disney+. But there's a hidden risk. Because newer systems are designed around modern media, they often underperform when playing older content or DVDs. You'll notice thin dialogue, broken surround fields, or overprocessed audio that kills the nostalgia. So which system immerses you more? That depends on what kind of viewer you are. Smart features, a blessing or a curse. Voice assistants, multi-room audio, streaming apps built into the AV receiver. Sounds cool, right? But these smart features often introduce complexity and bugs. You say, Alexa, play movie night, and instead it dims your lights and crashes your speaker. Old systems had none of that fluff. They just worked. And when something failed, you fixed it yourself. Today's systems? You're at the mercy of firmware updates and cloud servers. So we ask, do you want smart or do you want stable? Design and living space, the real war of aesthetics. Today's buyers want minimalism. They don't want tower speakers or AV cabinets. They want invisible setups that blend into furniture. And that's where new systems dominate. Soundbars like the Sennheiser Ambio Mini can fill a room without being seen. But there's a charm to a room built around a home theater. Acoustic panels, projector mounts, and speaker stands used to signal prestige. It was a hobby, not a hidden tech. So are we creating better experiences, or just hiding them? The cost of quality. Are you overpaying for simplicity? Here's the kicker. Many modern systems cost more, but deliver less power and customization. You're paying for convenience, not performance. A $1,200 soundbar might sound good, but can it match a $600 used AV receiver with a proper 5.1 setup? Not even close. And yet, millions choose the soundbar because it's easy. But here's the gut punch. Easy isn't always better. Especially when your ears know what true cinematic impact sounds like. The verdict? Not yet. So which wins, old or new? Not so fast. There's still one final truth you haven't heard yet. A hidden fact about today's wireless systems that could change your entire upgrade path. But for that, you'll have to stick around until the very end. Next up, coming up, we'll test soundstage performance in small rooms, compare dynamic range, and break down which setup dominates in real-world conditions. And yes, one of these systems is quietly hiding a massive flaw that no one talks about until it's too late. So grab your popcorn, because this war is just getting started. Part 2. The real differences begin to appear. But here's where it gets shocking. The more you dig into the specs, the more you realize old home theaters weren't built for how we consume media today. You had physical buttons, manual settings, clunky remotes that felt like calculator bricks. Setup was a nightmare for beginners. And God forbid you lost the manual. In 2025, you scan a QR code. Your phone auto-detects your system. Everything's calibrated in seconds through AI-assisted room correction. It's like upgrading from a horse cart to a spaceship. And yet, despite the tech advantage, many old-school lovers still argue that the audio warmth, the analog feel, the tactile control, those things are lost in translation. Are they wrong? No. But here's the reality. The new systems aren't trying to replicate the old. They're rewriting the rules. Brain-smart tech versus nostalgia. Who wins? Today's new home theater setups come fully loaded. Dolby Atmos with virtual height. HDMI 2.1 for 8K pass-through. eARC for lossless audio. App control, voice assistance, even integration with your lights and smart TV. But here's a question no one's asking. Has all this tech made us smarter or lazier? Do we truly experience the movie anymore, or do we just chase specs? Back in the day, setting up a 5.1 system required effort. You earned that cinematic sound. You knew every speaker, every wire, every setting. And that effort built emotional connection. Now, you plug and play. The system decides for you. And while that's convenient, convenience kills curiosity. The myth of bigger is better. In old home theaters, size mattered. Bigger amps, towering speakers, monstrous subs, it was all about physical dominance. If your living room didn't shake, you failed. But in 2025, power isn't always visible. A small Samsung or Sony soundbar with a smart sub can outperform an entire old-school system in clarity, precision, and 3D audio positioning. And that's terrifying to purists. You see, new home theaters use intelligence over brute force. Beamforming, psychoacoustic tricks, AI upscaling. These are the new weapons of sound. So here's the dark truth. Your old gear might sound loud, but the new gear sounds real. Repair, longevity, and legacy. Let's talk durability. Old home theaters were built like tanks. Heavy, metallic, reparable. If an amp blew, you replaced a capacitor. If a speaker died, you rewired it. Now, you open a modern soundbar, and what do you see? Glue, chips, plastic, proprietary tech. No repairability. You break it, you bin it. And for many people, that's the heartbreaking part of modern audio. It's no longer about legacy. It's about cycle. Buy, use, replace, repeat. But wait, there's another side to this. Sustainability versus sentimentality. Yes, modern home theaters are less reparable, but they're also more energy efficient. Smart eco modes, low standby consumption, recycled plastics, and carbon-neutral manufacturing are all becoming standard in 2025 models. So what's more responsible? Holding on to a power-hungry 2005 receiver that eats 400 watts just to play YouTube, or using a modern system that sounds great and uses a fraction of the power. The old builds memories. The new protects the future. Both matter. Sound quality, the most emotional showdown. All right, Let's talk about the one thing that matters most. The soul of any home theater, sound. Old school systems, especially analog amplifiers with high-end passive speakers, deliver warmth, detail, and dynamic range that still blow minds. Vinyl, CD, optical audio, clean signals. You felt the dialogue, the score, the silence. But 2025 changed the game. With 360 reality audio, Dolby Atmos height virtualization, and dynamic tone mapping, modern systems don't just play sound. They play sound. You don't hear the helicopter, you feel it above your head. You don't just watch the rainfall, you hear it trickling behind your ears. So here's the haunting question. Would you trade raw emotion for immersive perfection? Connectivity. Chaos then, simplicity now. You remember the spaghetti mess behind your old receiver? RCA cables, optical cables, 10 speaker wires, adapters, HDMI 1.3, and still something wouldn't work. Today, HDMI eARC, one cable, one port, and now with Matter, Google Home, Apple AirPlay, Alexa, your system isn't just a speaker system. It's part of your smart home ecosystem. But does that ease come at a cost? When your audio depends on your Wi-Fi, what happens during an outage? The future of home theater. Here's what no one's ready for. Home theater in 2030 won't be about products. It'll be about experiences, AR, VR, haptics. Your soundbar may be invisible. Speakers embedded in walls, under floors. Your receiver may be virtual, cloud-processed audio settings tuned in real time using AI. And guess what? You may not own anything. Just subscribe. Pay monthly for Dolby Atmos. Pay monthly for virtual speakers. It's coming. So the real debate isn't old versus new. It's ownership versus access.